Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are the BISD Licensed Professional Counselors. My name is Lauren Albert, and I work at Brazosport High School. And in a little bit, you will hear from Sarah Eddy, and she is at Brazos Wood High School. Today, we just wanted to talk about suicide awareness and prevention, as September is usually dedicated to getting the word out and having the conversations and providing tools and tips to help others. So a little bit about statistics first. 1 in 5 youth have thoughts of suicide, and it can be passive thoughts such as, I just hope I don't wake up tomorrow, the world would be better without me, it would be better if I wasn't here, things like that. It doesn't mean that they want to die or that they are trying to plan out anything. They just have some thoughts that they're struggling with in ways that we can come in and help and support and offer hope. Girls are 3 times more likely to attempt, and boys are 4 times more likely to complete suicide. So as you can see, it impacts all genders, all races, all cultures, all beliefs. It is something that every continent deals with, every cultural belief or organization. And so we want to provide resources and tools so that if you find yourself in a situation, then you know what to do and how to have the conversation. One small change that we're trying to make in the mental health world is to use person first language. Instead of saying the word committed, we would like to say death by suicide. Research has shown that family members and those who have survived attempts have negative connotations with the word committed, and it just kind of brings the wrong image or thought to mind for others. And so we want to say it for what it is, and that it is a death by suicide. We also don't want to use the word successful or failure in regards to an attempt because it's not a success if it happens. We do want to use phrases such as someone with lived experience or family members who have lived experience with somebody that they have had to walk through this process with. Next, we're going to hear from Sarah, and she's going to go into further detail about ways that you can have this conversation and how to work on your own emotions and how to support those around you.
I am Mrs. Eddy, and now we are going to talk about parents and caregivers as protective factors. So we're going to be looking at your person that you love through the lens of them being a person and not as their behavior. Often parents put a lot of blame on themselves, or they become very scared when they hear that their child is having thoughts of suicide. But we are here to kind of educate you that many times students will come with these thoughts and they just need some coping skills and they just kind of need to get out of that place that they're currently in. But we really want to look at what brought them to this point of unbearable pain and hopelessness that led them to view suicide as an option. So how do we do that? As their caregiver, it's really important that even though you might feel a duck like you're treading water underneath, on top, we want you to kind of appear calm and collected. This is super difficult to do, but this will reassure your student that they're safe and that you are ready to listen to them. Asking the hard questions. Are you thinking about killing yourself or are you thinking about suicide versus asking, are you wanting to harm or hurt yourself? And we're going to discuss a little bit further why we ask this directly. Some of the benefits of asking directly is that we know that all behaviors have a purpose. So by asking directly requires a direct response and avoids vagueness and confusion. It encourages safety and trust and reminds your student that we can get through this together. Also, the teen or the student is no longer alone. They know that they may now feel a sense of relief when they realize that you're not going to abandon them and that they are not too much for you to handle. Often we'll hear from students that they do not want us to call their parents because their parents already have so much stress going on, and the last thing that they want to do is create more stress. We take the approach that you are a big part of this picture, and we'll talk a little bit later about how you are a protective factor, but just be reminded that we want you to be part of this process, and we remind the student that you're an adult and that you can handle this, even though stress is going on. Parent and caregivers, this is taken from some of Gottman's work. If you're familiar with the Gottmans, they do a lot of research in counseling and therapy, and this is from emotional coaching. One is you want to be aware of your child's emotions. We're going to talk about some of the warning signs that you can look for that are a little bit more discreet and some of the risk factors. Also, seeing emotions as an opportunity for connection. So taking this moment to really be with your student and let them know, I might not know exactly what you're going through, but I'm here to support you and get you the help that you need. Also, listening and validating their feelings. One of the things that we do as humans is this is such a scary topic many times that we want to cut them off or we want to try to talk them out of having these feelings, or we want to argue that, there are things to live for. While all those are important, when your student is having these feelings of despair, the best thing you can do is to validate them in that moment and then move towards hope later on when they're in a healthier headspace. Also, labeling their emotions is an important part of this. We hear so often a student will say, well, I just feel like killing myself. When what they're really trying to say is, I'm so frustrated with the workload. So, again, going back to giving them the language and providing them labels for their emotions, we have some incredible resources here. We use a feelings wheel. You can get this off the internet, or we would love to provide it for you to use as a tool to go a little bit deeper with their emotions. Also, you're helping your child solve problems with limits. So, you're not saying, well, you can do whatever you want, giving them some limits, but also giving them agency that they do have control and that they do have choices. Many times people will think of suicide as an option because they've gotten to the point where they still have agency, and that seems like a choice that will solve this problem. So we want to help give them some other options, and by having people connected and by having your support, that opens them up to new options.
It may be scary to think about kind of the things that we've talked about already, but we wanted to provide you with some warning signs and some specific things to kind of look for, or if you notice these things, kind of putting two and two together. So if they're talking about wanting to die or kill oneself, that's a warning sign, and that's something that we need to address and kind of have a conversation with them about. Um, Oftentimes, being in the schools, there may be an assignment that is attached with that, but sometimes it's not even correlated with the assignment, and they just use that opportunity to talk about how they're feeling. And so oftentimes teachers will let us know that a student has written something and we can address it with them. So if you notice something at home or in the community and you're like, that's a little different or that's unusual for them and they're writing this or saying this, then we want to go ahead and address it and kind of look at it. It is one of the warning signs. If they're acting anxious or agitated or behaving in such a way that's more reckless and impulsive, things that they don't typically do, that's kind of out of character for them, we want to look at that and see that as a warning sign as well. If there's a change in their eating or sleeping habits, now they're sleeping more throughout the day, or they're not sleeping enough at 3 hours, 4 hours at a time, and that's it. Or if they're eating more or not eating at all, again, those are things we just want to look at and kind of ask about and see if there's anything going on that we can help with in that time. Um, Increasing their substance use or creating a substance use disorder, because that will impact their ability to make rational decisions and control their impulsive behavior as well. If they're withdrawing or isolating and they're stop doing activities that they typically would do, stop engaging in things that they would normally find fun or being around people that they have previously enjoyed, then we want to make sure that things are okay and just kind of let them know, hey, we've noticed this. This is what I see. Do we need to talk about it? Kind of what's going on in their mind at that time. If they're giving away their things, their possessions, or giving things to their friends to remember them by, that's another big warning sign. That sense of hopelessness, maybe feeling trapped. There's no other way out. I've dug a hole so deep. This is the only option. Again, warning signs. The number one warning sign and the biggest one to look at and address quickly is if they have been in this more sad or depressed state, kind of off on their own, isolated, doing their own thing, keeping to themselves, and then all of a sudden, with no intervention, they come out of their room or they start appearing more around you, and they seem happy and they seem like they have something looking forward to. Typically, that is an indicator that they have a plan and they have put it in place and the timeline has started. If there's intervention in between, that's a different story. But I'm talking about if they have been sad and withdrawn and kind of off on their own, and then all of a sudden we have this, significant mood change and there's been no intervention. That's the time that we need to get intervention there quickly and really address the situation in a very prompt manner. So we've talked about risk factors, we've talked about warning signs, but we also want to offer hope and help and what you can do. You are a protective factor. Just by caring and by being there for an adolescent, you already offer something that they need and letting them know that they have support and help. So that's a good thing. Just be there and just listen. You may not have all the answers, and that's okay. Just listening will help and guide them into the right direction, and then provide resources as you can. Other ways to help them and other protective factors are obviously behavioral health care, getting them connected with somebody that can help, somebody that can step in and provide resources that may be beyond what you know. Social connectedness, get them connected with something they enjoy, somewhere in the community, something that they can do. Maybe there's a club or an organization at school, or maybe something's happening in your neighborhood, and just helping them feel like they have a place that they belong and a purpose and something they can give back to. Teaching common life skills. How do we get through problems? How do we navigate stress? How do we handle situations that arise in life? And what does that look like? Support from others. How do we ask for support? How do we offer support? These are protective factors as well. And then reducing access to lethal means. That may not be their plan, but sometimes when somebody is in such a state that they feel like this is the only option, that impulsive behavior kind of steps up. So if we can reduce access to things, to lethal means, sharp objects, weapons, medication, different things like that, then it makes it harder if those thoughts come in, and it makes them second guess kind of what's going on. And then hopefully at that point you can step in and be somebody to help and provide resources. And then just letting them figure out who they are and creating that strong cultural identity and identifying who they want to be and kind of what direction they want to go in life. So there's lots of positive things that you can also offer. It's not always easy, and sometimes we forget because it's such a heavy topic and a heavy situation, but just by being there, you offer a lot of help and hope already. So we want to talk a little bit about resources that are available. There's 988, that is the crisis line. It will connect you with the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Recently, they went over to just this 3-number phone number, makes it easier to remember. You can call, you can text, you can even do chat on the computer, any way that you need to reach them. It is nationwide. It does not just work around here, and they will connect you with resources that are local to where you are. Brazoria County Sheriff's Office has the mental health deputies, and they can come out and help assess and provide resources as well. And the Gulf Coast Crisis Line, they also do assessments and provide resources. The school district has created a community resource list that we would be happy to share with you if you need that. Sometimes finding the right help is overwhelming because you don't know where to start. You don't know who's good. You don't know what you can do. There's too many people or there's not enough people. We have provided these lists to kind of help navigate that, and we would be happy to share that with you. Here is our information. We want to say thank you for joining us today. Feel free to email us or reach out to us on our campus so that we can help provide more information to you or help you with whatever situation you may be facing. We appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to our presentation, and we look forward to meeting with you more in the future. Hope you have a great day. Bye.